Hey, welcome to another week of the Mama and Minnie Show with Shola and Iman. So Iman's doing her thing right now. We'll let her be in and out of the frame. As you know, if you've been following us on Instagram, which you should be, at Mama Minnie Show, August is National Breastfeeding Month. And the last week of August is Black Breastfeeding Week. So today's video, I will focus on my own experience as a breastfeeding mom and some of the disparities that Black women face when they're breastfeeding. Before I go any further, I want to make sure to tell y'all to like and subscribe. If you like what you see, yeah, come tell them, say like and subscribe. And make sure you check out the Mama and Minnie Show vlog. All of that is linked down below in the description box. So make sure you check all of that out and hit the bell to turn on our post notifications so you never miss a video with Mama and Minnie. It's not time to say bye-bye yet. That's your time to shine? Can you say breast milk?
Milk.
Milk, yeah. When I decided to have Iman, I always knew that I wanted to breastfeed. My mom breastfed me and my 5 siblings. I just was surrounded by women who breastfed, so I always knew that was the route I wanted to go. But for many women, they choose not to breastfeed for many different reasons. Let me start this by saying that breastfeeding is not for everyone. There is not a right or wrong way to feed your child. As long as your baby is getting all of the nutrition they need, then whatever way you get that to them, that's good. Some mothers are unable to breastfeed because of things like pain, milk supply, work schedule, just anything that could cause them to be unable to keep a consistent breastfeeding routine. So if you give your baby formula and that's what works for you, then that is perfectly fine, and that is good as well because your baby's still being strong and healthy. Can you get out of the way, big head? But for me, breastfeeding was the right choice. It was hard in the beginning, but I'm glad that I stuck to it because it just was exactly what I wanted to do. Many Black mothers in particularly do not get the resources and help they need to successfully breastfeed, and that plays into why Black mothers breastfeed at lower rates than other mothers. Recent studies actually show that about 64% of Black mothers attempt breastfeeding when their babies are born, compared to 83% of all women who attempt breastfeeding and 85% of white women who attempt breastfeeding. Black women have the lowest on average breastfeeding rates of all ethnicities of women, and that's due to societal and cultural factors. So, like I said, breast is not always best for everyone. Each mother and child is different. Their needs are different. Your child's health is different. Your health is different. So breast is not best for everyone. But breast milk does naturally already contain all of the nutrients that your baby needs for life. Also, breast milk is very economical because it comes right out of your body, whereas formula costs a lot of money. So it is worth looking into breastfeeding, in my opinion, when you first have your babies. It's the most natural way and it's the most economical way. So if you can, why not? A lot of women aren't taught, aren't given the resources or taught everything they need to know about breastfeeding. And so for some, it's not even a choice for them. Like the decision's kind of already made before they even get to consider, are they going to breastfeed or not? So like I said, I always knew that I wanted to breastfeed Iman. So right in the hospital, after you have the baby, there's a lactation specialist who helps your baby latch on for the first time. One thing I didn't know about breastfeeding before, I started doing my research as a soon-to-be mother was that babies don't know what they're doing at first, and neither does the mom. If you've never breastfed before, it's not easy. Looking at breastfeeding moms, you think, just put the baby on your breast and they start eating. No, neither one of you knows what to do. Babies do not know how to latch on properly when they first come out of the womb, and it's also hard on your end to get them to latch. So a lot of women experience frustration right there with breastfeeding because it's difficult at first for many mothers to figure out the right latch. It was very difficult for me. Iman and I struggled for weeks with her latching, trying to get her correctly. And I went to a number of lactation specialists who actually helped me get their latch together. I also have done a previous video a year ago, well over a year ago now, when Iman was smaller, in which I gave breastfeeding tips. I will link that, so if you want to check that out, look up to the top and hit that link and see breastfeeding tips for younger babies. Iman is no longer breastfed. I breastfed for 20 months, which is a little over a year and a half, and it's 2 months longer than I actually was planning to breastfeed, but I decided to wean her slowly. Do you miss the milk? Do you miss it? So, if you are deciding to breastfeed and you need help, some places to look for lactation specialists are your local hospital. Wherever you had your baby should have lactation specialists, or they should have the resources to point you in the direction of lactation specialists. Also, if you're a low-income mama, check out WIC, which stands for Women, Infants, Children. WIC is a government assistance program, kind of like food stamps, where they provide you with food for your baby every month. And they also have a whole bunch of resources. They have you come in for checkups like the doctors, and they check your baby's weight and height and everything like that. And they also have lactation specialists on hand who can help you with your latch and stuff like that. You might think, oh, I don't need a lactation specialist. I had to go to several, and the last one I went to was actually the most helpful. Thank you, baby. Hello? Oh, you want to speak to Iman? Okay, here she is. Iman's in a meeting right now. She can't take this call. Okay, bye-bye. The last one I went to was actually the most helpful, and they actually show you different techniques and ways to get your baby to latch on properly every time. I thought it was very helpful, so I would suggest going to a lactation specialist if you're struggling. Bye-bye. There are also hotlines you can call, especially during this pandemic. I'm sure a lot of them are opening up more hotlines and virtual help sessions. But there are also hotlines that you can call to talk about breastfeeding and get tips and things like that. I will include those in the description box below. If you're wondering how to get WIC, the first place to go would be to Google, WIC, WIC, and your state, and see what comes up to apply. But also, I have a video about WIC, and I should take y'all to a WIC appointment with me and talk about how you can get WIC. So I will also link that above. So hit that link if you haven't seen that video. Come on, y'all. I've been giving y'all the resources, okay? Check the archives. That's all I'm going to say. Some of the difficulties mothers face with breastfeeding that's very frustrating and may cause them to stop. Milk supply. Your milk supply may be going up and down. I struggled with milk supply a lot in the beginning. First, I was making a ton of milk, and then I was making like no milk. So I actually had to supplement Iman's food with formula in the beginning. So for the first 3 months of her life, Iman got both formula and breast milk, but I was determined to be completely for her to be completely breastfed. And so I worked, and when she was 3 months old, I finally got my supply at a consistent level. So breastfeeding does require a lot of consistency, and you have to be dedicated to it. So I'll say that. Like I said, it's not the best choice for everyone, but I ultimately knew I wanted to do it, and I felt good about sticking with it and being successful eventually. Eventually, breastfeeding was like a piece of cake. But in the beginning, like about the first 3 months, it was a lot of work. That's not everyone's reality either. Like I said, every mom and baby are different. Some lucky moms get their baby to latch right in the hospital, and it's a breeze for them. After that, no issue at all. Breastfeeding is like breathing. But some moms take some work. Some moms can get it after like a week. Some moms take like 3 months to get it down pat, like me. So it just depends. Ooh, thank you, Baby Shark. One way to get your milk supply up is consistency. Your baby should be eating about every hour and a half, 2 hours when they're first born. Iman wanted to just sleep after she was born. She didn't want to eat. I had to make her eat. But you need to keep your milk supply up. Yeah. Now I can't get her to stop eating. Black moms also have the lowest breastfeeding retention rate. On average, black moms breastfeed for about 6.5 weeks. Percentage of black moms are working moms, than other races of moms. Black moms are oftentimes the breadwinners for the family, or at least the partial breadwinners for the family, and they have to go back to work sooner than other moms. So one thing that can help you keeping your milk supply up when you're not with your baby 24/7 is pumping. Using a breast pump was critical for me. Even though I was a stay-at-home mom, like I said, it was hard to get Iman to eat all the time. So I would pump out milk and feed it to her in the future. It also allows other people to bond with your baby and feed your baby when you're not there, and keeps them having that good breast milk. I did a breast pump review and tutorial, which I'll link above. I used the Amita breast pump. It's very important that you find a good breast pump. I had one that wasn't so good in the beginning, and it was so frustrating. My milk supply sucked, and it was hard, it was difficult, and I was in tears all this time. But then I got the Amita breast pump, and it got so much better. So having tools and resources like that, which I learned from a lot of research and also from the lactation consultants, helped me be successful breastfeeding. The other thing that helps Black moms and moms in general be successful with breastfeeding is support. Luckily, Al was very supportive of me breastfeeding, and he was there to help through all of the emotional aspect of breastfeeding, me crying and going through it, and also the logistics, picking up the breast pump, making sure I had what I needed, keep helping me keep Minnie on a feeding schedule. So if you have a support system that supports you breastfeeding, it's very essential to you being successful, because it can be a very long and hard process. But like I said, after all of that, once we got in the flow, Iman breastfed for 20 whole months. My big, strong girl, she didn't want to stop breastfeeding. So that was the next challenge, getting them off the breast. 3 months she had breast milk and formula. Then the next 3 months she was exclusively breastfed, no food, no water, nothing. At around 6 months, I introduced water and a little bit of solid food. And then, you know, your body changes, and it supplies the amount of breast milk your baby needs once you get in the rhythm of flow. So once they start eating solid foods, your body starts making less milk, but it's still enough that they need for them to get it. And your breast milk carries, like I said, all the nutrition that your baby needs until they're a certain age. And it also carries all the antibodies they need to keep them healthy. It's like your baby's personalized prescription medicine. So that's the cool thing about breast milk. Your body can sense what antibodies your baby needs, and it can make them specifically for your baby. There are other challenges that come with breastfeeding. Once the little ones get teeth, that's fun, because they have to learn how to breastfeed without biting you. And like I said, it always fluctuates and changes and things like that. If you don't breastfeed enough, you will get swollen breasts, which could get infected if you leave them too long. If you don't keep up the routine, your milk supply will dry up. So it is all about balance and consistency. But I personally thought it was so worth it. And it kept Iman healthy, and it kept her strong. And yeah, and it's important. It could be so much more economically beneficial for moms who are spending all this money on formula that maybe they can't afford. We need to encourage Black women to breastfeed more if that's what they want to do, and give them the support and the tools necessary to do that. Oh, also I forgot to mention this, but culturally, Black women also breastfeed less because there's certain, there's certain stigmas around breastfeeding for a long time, or there's sayings like, if you put cereal in the baby's bottle, they'll sleep better and stuff like that. So that encourages you not to breastfeed, but to get formula and mix it with some baby cereal and stuff like that. But breastfeeding is the most natural and healthiest way for your baby, for most babies. That's just a fact. Formula is great and everything, but it's not healthier than breast milk for most kids. So, I'm not going to sell it too much for y'all, but I do believe that we should try to encourage it more. And that's where I'll end this video. I was just talking about my experience. If y'all have any more questions, let me know, and let me know what else y'all want to see from the Mama and Minnie show. Are you ready to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, now it's time to say bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you next week. Yeah.